Oh hi, so Katie here. So you probably wondered what's happened to me because I haven't posted any videos, I haven't uploaded any videos in a while. Everything's okay with me, I'm fine. I mean, the reason I decided to make a video today is because I saw a news item this morning which really made me angry. It's about this a man who committed a brutal transphobic assault on a transgender woman. So without further ado, I'll read you the details because I have the newspaper article up here, the news article I should say. It's on Birmingham Live and it's also been reported by Manchester News and also some of the national newspapers as well, like the Mirror and the Sun and the Mail, and also it's been reported on Pink News. So the headline reads, "Man jailed for brutal attack on transgender woman after she performed sex act on him." Well, actually, as you go further down the article, you find out that the sex was consensual anyway between them, so that headline makes it sound as if she sexually harassed him, but that's not the case. And also I noticed Birmingham Live have got a rainbow colours on their logo, so there we go. And also I noticed as well one of the other headlines put transgender woman in brackets, and I mean in not brackets, quote, you know, so the quotes and quote marks, and so, you know, I mean that's still a bit dodgy, and they had the rainbow colours on their logo as well. So, but I think that was just a direct quote from the judge who described her as a beautiful transgender woman. So yeah, so right, a booze-fueled man launched into a violent attack when he discovered he had been involved in a sexual encounter with a transgender woman. Suhail Sood, who had also taken cocaine, repeatedly punched the victim, slammed her head onto a washing machine, and made her clean up her own blood after discovering she had male genitals. Sood, 34, was sentenced to 16 months when he appealed at Reading Crown Court, the Mirror reports. The court heard the victim had gone to a party with her married boyfriend before ending up in a room alone with Sood, according to Manchester Evening News. She performed a sex act on Sood, who then switched on the light and shouted, "You're a man," before attacking her and calling her a dog. The assault arose entirely from Mr. Sood discovering that she was transgender and thereafter assaulting her, Oliver Weech, prosecuting said. Sood was cleared of sexual assault but sent to prison after he admitted assault causing actual bodily harm. So his defence said, defending Tom Holmes, asked the judge not to sentence Sood on the basis he targeted the victim based on prejudice. So his defence actually were trying to say that this wasn't a transphobic attack because Sood was angry that the woman, when he discovered the woman he was having sex with was transgender. But that comes really close to me to using the trans panic defence. I just think that's really bad, to be honest. You know, because that's effectively what, you know, they're saying that, oh, the guy didn't know, you know, and then he became enraged when he found out she was trans, and you know, so that's transphobic anyway, as far as I'm concerned. You know, if it's targeting her because she's trans, it can't be anything else but transphobic, and there's no excuse for it. Mr. Holmes said his behaviour on that night, of course, was despicable, so this is the guy's defence. It gives an impression of him as a reckless, aggressive and frankly unlikable human being. Yeah, I mean, you don't say, you know, he smashed her head into a washing machine and he punched her and then he forced her to clean up her own blood afterwards. So, I mean, I think that does make him a reckless, aggressive and frankly unlikable human being is like an understatement. So the article goes on, Judge Emma Knott said Sood had been at the party with others when the victim turned up with her partner, who left early. The judge added, "You were even happy to entertain his girlfriend after the boyfriend went home to his wife. You were in the company of an attractive woman." Now they keep on saying this in a lot of articles. I mean, the judge went on to say, during consensual sexual activity, Sood found this undeniably attractive woman was transgender, the judge said. So I mean, like, they keep on emphasising, like in another headline, you know, relating to this article, this story, she's described as beautiful and attractive, and it does make me think that, you know, since the judges and the media kind of emphasising the fact that she was beautiful, you know, she was a beautiful transgender woman and attractive, then what would have happened if she hadn't been, if they hadn't found her attractive, or they thought she hadn't passed? Because I think a lot of the time, you know, if a trans person doesn't pass, then there's a tendency to actually blame the trans person, because they say, oh well, you were visibly trans, or you were openly gender non-binary, or you were openly trans and visibly trans, you look trans, you have a deep voice like me, you know, and they say, well, that's your own fault because you look trans, type of thing, so what do you expect if you go out dressed like that? And I mean, indeed in The Sun, there was actually a bit of that in The Sun, because the Sun article starts off with describing what the victim wore, saying she wore a black sparkly top, which was totally, I mean, I don't really see why we would need to know what she wore, but I think they were trying to intimate that the fact that wearing a black sparkly top was was too daring for a trans woman, because it was too overtly feminine. That's what they were trying to suggest, and because of that, you know, that incited attack, you know. I mean, it's like, I mean, I just thought, well, you know, thank you, you know, thanks to The Sun for, as a trans woman, thanks to The Sun for the subliminal hint that, you know, if I go to a black, if I wear if I wear a black sparkly top, you know, I'm more likely to be sexually assaulted. I mean, I remember to wear a boiler suit to all parties I'm invited to next time, because lest if I put on a black sparkly top and a violent male transphobe is dazzled by it and decides to beat me within an inch of my life and then make me use it to mop up the blood that's left on the floor. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, that kind of got to me a bit, you know, although it wasn't overtly transphobic, it was like the assumptions behind it. Why would we even need to know about a trans woman wearing a black sparkly top? You know, that's what I just find quite insidious, really, in the way, you know, that this is reported. And I mean, for instance, I mean, if I go on, I will. There are other things there as well, which kind of I noticed, which kind of like got to me. So yeah, so the judge went on, and then things took a very ugly turn. You were perhaps fueled by whiskey and cocaine and flew into a rage. From that moment, you had no concern at all for the woman. You were only concerned by your own feelings. What you were concerned about was your reputation, for fear of being a laughingstock, i.e., you know, that he had sex with a trans woman, he found a trans woman attractive. You sought to blame her. You threw words around like deceit. You accused her of raping you. There's no culpability on your part. She is a woman, that is how she identifies. Again, that word is problematic, identifies, because, I mean, yeah, but anyway, that's a subject for another video. But within the trans community, the word identifies as a woman, or identifies as non-binary, identifies as a man, etc. is problematic. Judge Knott added, Frankly, if you weren't prepared to take the time to know more about her, that is on you. Okay, maybe you should be a bit more careful in the future. Well, that again is like a kind of dodgy, I think, because I mean, she's almost saying like just be more careful that the woman that you find attractive or are about to have sex to isn't a trans woman. So again, I find that problematic. And she goes on to say, you discovered in your mind too late, you lost your temper. Well, this is the thing, see, there's like a kind of this kind of message here that like kind of goes, sort of like subliminally maybe, that she there is some degree of sympathy to be had for him for finding out that the woman that he was having sex with was trans. So it's almost like, oh well, he got upset because she was trans, therefore you can't blame him really, because that's what a bloke's likely to do. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of attitude. I mean, the judge does go on to say, you hit her multiple times to the face, head and ear. Both eyes were black. Her left eye was completely bloodshot. She had one continuous huge bruise from the thigh to the knee, and all of those were caused by you. Well, okay, so the judge is like, she condemns the assault, but in the summing up she tells him that he has to be more careful, that the woman he has sex with in the future, or the women that he finds attractive in the future, aren't trans women. So, I mean, I find that a little bit problematic. I mean, because his transphobia is not okay, and it's almost like making an excuse for his transphobia, in a way. I've made some more notes here about what upset me really about it. There's a lot of stuff here that, there's a lot of stuff to unpack. I mean, I'll put the light on actually because it's getting quite dark outside. But yeah, I mean, like for instance, a lot of the comments, particularly under the Mail article, well, I mean, can you really be surprised when it's the Mail? A lot of them were saying, oh well, it's a brutal attack, but you can't blame him, sort of thing, for getting angry and all that sort of thing. And oh, I feel a bit sorry for him. And there was one right-wing person on Twitter who actually said, oh well, his biggest punishment won't be the 16 months jail sentence he received, but it will be, everybody knowing that he found a trans woman attractive, which is just, it just shows how much they hate us really. This poor woman was like beaten to within an inch of her life, and then she had to she was forced to mop up her own blood afterwards. So yeah, it's just terrible. I mean, the things that I can sort of draw from this really, like the positive things are that she wasn't misgendered, she wasn't, there wasn't any kind of dead naming of her, which happens a lot of the time. There wasn't any pictures of her or anything, like pre-transition pics, or pics of her, without her consent and that type of thing that made her look a certain way for the, to frame her in a certain way. But yeah, there's a lot of worrying things here, to be honest. This still shows we need a lot more work to do with regard to, trans rights. I mean, it's the attitude that, like, if a trans person isn't attractive, then maybe it's not as serious. If a transphobic crime isn't as serious as if she was attractive and she was passing, because society almost gives rewards to trans people who pass, and I mean that's reflected in the kind of like whole medical system as well, where you have to pass to be able to get hormones, or and surgery and that type of thing. You have to fulfill criteria to get a gender recognition certificate, all that kind of stuff. So if you're a trans person and you can't pass, or even if you don't want to pass, or if you identify as non-binary and you look visibly trans and you're openly trans, well then there is a kind of sort of feeling, I think, in society that, well, if you get attacked, if you get attacked for being trans because somebody spots you as trans and you stand out for being trans, then it's your own fault because you didn't assimilate enough, so yeah, so that's all I got to say really. I mean, that's something that's made me quite angry. And I mean, as I said, the Sun, I think what annoyed me the most was that the kind of Sun sort of saying that, mentioning that she had a black sparkly top on, because I mean, as I said, I mean, does that mean now that as a trans woman, if I go to if I'm invited to a party, I should be careful what I wear, lest some violent transphobic male should beat me up and then force me to wipe my own blood up with my clothes, I mean, it fits into the whole kind of, habit of the media and the whole sort of sexism that is against women as well. If a woman gets assaulted, they look at the way she looks, rather than actually blaming the perpetrator. They'll look at how short her skirt was and that type of thing. Well, that was a variation on this, but it was almost a variation on that, and also saying, oh well, sparkly out there, obviously advertising that you're LGBT, therefore you're inviting attack type of thing. Do you know what I mean? But as we see, that's completely not the point, because this man didn't know that the woman was trans until he actually went to bed with her, and so it just shows you that whatever you do, you cannot win. It's the transphobia that's the problem, and not the trans person. A transphobic attack is never the fault of a trans person. The same as a racist attack is never the fault of a person's because they're of a certain race, or an anti-Semitic attack is never the fault of a Jewish person, So, or it's just yeah. So that's all I wanted to say really. So thank you very much for watching. Please do tell me what you think, and whether it makes you angry too. So thank you very much for watching my video, and cheerio for now. Bye.